This is Carissa Lawrence with my final presentation on my RPG game, Escape. In Java, we have arrays, array lists, and enums. An array is basically a single variable that contains a whole bunch of different values. An array can only be of one data type, such as an integer or a character. In my raft view, we constructed an array of only the string data type. We initialize the length to be 3. It is important to note that an array has a fixed size, but these values can be changed. This array will hold the input values from the user for the length, the width, and the height of the raft. An array list is best used when keeping track of groups of objects. In the game control, I created an array list method for adding the object actors. When I constructed the array list, I did not initialize the length, unlike an array. This is beneficial if an array needs to be resized by adding or removing an element. In this method, I created 2 new actors with a non-default constructor, and I added them to my array list of actors with the add method. An enum is a special class that defines a set of constants. They are a fixed length and of the same type. Notice the keyword enum replaces the keyword class. Here are the 8 predefined resource types, separated by commas. Enums are beneficial when you need to assign a constant. For example, the resource type water will be assigned to the resource object, and it will never need to be changed. An index is needed to refer to an array element. Array values can be accessed by referring to an index number. In the first example, the array held 3 indexes, 0, 1, and 2. My program uses 2 types of for statements to sort through arrays. The first type of for loop takes in 3 parameters. The first is where we want the sort to start, which is referred to as the counter variable. The second is where we wish the loop to end. Here, the counter variable starts at 0 and will continue through the statement as long as the counter is less than 20. The third parameter is how much we wish to increment by. This for statement will repeat through the code through the index 0 through 19, which is the length of rows in our map. A for each statement is another tool for sorting through an array. To me, it can be an easier, more bug-free option because it only sorts through all the elements in an array and never out of bounds. It is a lot more simple to read and can really beautify your code. This statement can be read as, for each resource inventory resource in the inventory. The first variable, inventory resource, will point to each element in the inventory array. Here is an example output when, for each element, it printed the resource type, the amount needed, and the total amount. Because errors are going to occur, exception handling is a must. Here is the error view class, which displays a clear-cut message when an error occurs. For example, the game help view calls the error view when the user inputs a wrong menu selection. At times, you will need to handle runtime errors by using a try-catch clause. When starting a new game in the main menu, it will first try to run the create new game method. The create new game method calls the move actors to starting location. Move actors to starting location calls move actor to location. These methods are all connected like a chain. If an error occurs in one of these methods, let's say the move actors to location, this throw map control exception will propagate the error to move actors to starting location. The error will go down the line to be caught by the catch statement. Catch clauses are evaluated from top to bottom. If the map control exception does not catch the error object, the throwable clause will. Throwables are put last because they catch and handle all runtime errors that were not predicted. Java uses two main types of streams, byte and character. Character streams are needed when handling the input and output of characters. These streams are more for human readability. Buffered reader reads the input from the keyboard. Here I created a buffered reader called keyboard, which calls the getin file. Print writer writes all outputs to the console. This is why I created a printer writer variable named console. When getting input from the user, the game will call the buffer reader keyboard to read each line. This .console is used to print characters to the console. Byte streams work with the input and output of bytes, such as reading and writing binary data. The save game method uses the file output stream to output the stream to a file path specified by the user. The object output stream will print the game object to the file path, byte by byte. Get saved game is practically the same concept, but instead of uses file input stream and file output stream to read the game object from a file. The data in the file is compiled for the computer's use. In order to print readable character data to a file, you must use the character stream type print writer. In my print map method, a new print writer variable is constructed which takes in the user's inputted file path. The print writer variable out is passed into the display map method. The display map method takes the strings used to create a map to print it into the new file. The flush method is called in order to force all the buffered output into the file. It is important to remember when printing data to a file to use a try-catch statement to catch any errors that may arise. Here is the finished product of the map. When starting the game, it gives the background story and the player's first instructions to move left to the new location to meet the chief. First, you'll start by inputting your name. You'll be directed to the main menu. You can either start a new game, open a game, save a game, or get help. I will start a new game. Here is the game menu of the map. It allows you to interact with the game. You can press V to view the map and see your location, as well as the building the raft finish location. I'm going to start by pressing M to move left to meet the native chief of the island. This is a little game that is up to chance. If you get less than 5, you will become friends with the native islanders. If you get more than 5, you will become enemies and you will lose resources each time you run into an actor. The main objective of the game is to look around the map to find resources for food, to build tools, and to build a raft which allow you to leave the island. Here is a location that has berries. To harvest it, you use the option R. This will add the berries to your inventory. You can build tools with the option C. If you have the right resources, you will be able to build the tools. Build bridge location is just one of the obstacles in the escape game. In order to make it across to the finished scene, you must have the necessary resources and tools to build a bridge. If you do, you can press B to build a bridge. It will ask you for the length, the width, and the height. If you put in appropriate measurements, you can cross to the other side. Once you get to the finished scene, you can start working on your raft if you have the needed resources and tools. You press W to work on the raft. It will ask you to input the correct measurements to build your raft. You can choose option S to see the percentage of your raft complete. Once you have completed 100% of your raft and you have all of the necessary resources and items, you can launch your raft and make it safely home.